a screen in your pocket, music on demand, entire worlds built to fill 20 minutes of your time. And yet, researchers who study ancient human behavior keep running into the same problem. Adults play. Elderly people play. Humans play when they are sick, when they are grieving, when every rational signal says, this is not the time. Neuroscientists call this neoteny, the retention of juvenile traits into adulthood. It is not a flaw in the system. It is the system. The same neural architecture that keeps humans playing into old age is the architecture that allowed a species with no claws, no venom, no real speed to become the most dominant animal in the history of this planet. Play is not a break from survival. Play was the engine of it. Which raises a question nobody has cleanly answered. If ancient humans had no screens, no music libraries, no scheduled entertainment of any kind, what did 40,000 years of leisure actually look like? The evidence exists, and some of it is stranger than anyone expected. In 2008, archaeologists excavating a cave in southwestern Germany pulled a fragment of bone from the sediment. The cave was called Hohle Fels. The bone was hollow. It was a vulture wing bone, and someone had carved 5 holes into it at precise, deliberate intervals. It was a flute, dated to 40,000 years ago. There were no cities, no farms, no written language of any kind. And someone sat in a cave and made a musical instrument, not to communicate, not to signal danger, not to attract a mate in any direct biological sense, for no reason that survival alone can explain. The researchers who analyzed the instrument found that the hole placement was not accidental. The angles were carved to produce specific tones. This was not someone who picked up a bone and made noise. This was someone who knew what they wanted it to sound like. What that tells you is not just that ancient humans made music. It tells you they had opinions about it in the 1970s. Before that revision, the assumption was simple. Ancient humans spent almost all their time surviving, hunting, gathering, sleeping, surviving. Then, researchers started actually measuring. Frank Marlowe spent years embedded with the Hadza of northern Tanzania. One of the last populations on Earth, the Hadza worked on average between 4 and 6 hours a day. The rest of the time was theirs. Not because life was easy. It was not easy. But because the hunter-gatherer system is extraordinarily efficient when it functions. A skilled hunter does not need to hunt for 8 hours to feed a camp. 2 hours of productive hunting can feed 10 people. The system has a ceiling. Once you hit the ceiling, there's nothing left to do except something that has no function at all. Anthropologist Marshall Salins looked at this data in 1972 and called it the original affluent society, not wealthy in objects, wealthy in time. Deep inside the caves at Lascaux, France, there's a chamber archaeologists call the shaft. You have to crawl to reach it. There is no natural light. There has been no natural light in that chamber for 17,000 years. On the wall, someone painted a scene. A bison, wounded, a spear through its body, and beneath it, a human figure, falling. Researchers believe this was intentional. A stylistic choice made by the artist to separate the human from the natural world around them. Archaeologists have found gaming pieces, small carved stones in specific configurations, at sites dating back 10,000 years. The most revealing evidence may be the simplest. Archaeologists find the same thing near fire pits, marks in the earth consistent with people sitting in a circle. For hours, the Hadza sit like this today. Field researchers who documented their fire behavior found that evening time at camp was almost entirely spent in conversation, storytelling, jokes, arguments about who told the best story last time. Polly Wiesner, an anthropologist who recorded thousands of hours of Hadza conversation, found that daytime talk was mostly practical. Food, logistics, Movement. Night talk was almost entirely narrative. Stories about people. Stories about the past. When you stay up too late watching something you have already seen. The need does not change. Only the screen does. We have been searching for ways to fill the hours since before we had words for hours. The entertainment did not create the need. The need created everything.